The first data set that we looked into for this documentary were the WikiLeaks cables. Well, the WikiLeaks cables, we had 250,000 documents. So where do you start? There can be any kind of potential interesting information, but how do you find it in 250,000 cables? So we read a lot of these cables. For instance, you read something like this. Royal Dutch Shell exerts strong influence on Dutch foreign economic policy. For example, and then the name is censored, Mr. X. Well, of course, if you read this, you want to know who's Mr. X. So you do a Google search, and there are many sources of the WikiLeaks cables, and we found out, well, he's actually called Simon. It turns out that everybody is using social media nowadays. Then we thought, okay, maybe this is interesting. Try to view at this enormous quantity of information from a different perspective and focus on the people in the cables and see who they are. We don't know these people, they aren't the big CEOs. They are apparently diplomats working for Shell in this case. So we wanted to find more of these people. Now, where can you find more of these people? Of course, on LinkedIn, there are so many resumes, and every Shell employee is so friendly to place his resume. But we didn't want to do it with our own LinkedIn profile. And it's best if you have one that has a lot of links to Shell people. For instance, when you work at Shell. But yeah, both of us, we don't work at Shell, unfortunately. And we couldn't find a Shell employee that let us sniff around with his account. What we could do is create somebody that worked at Shell. So we created an email address. We called her Eva de Jong, which is a very common Dutch name. And you go to LinkedIn and you create a resume. And well, we made her a project manager at Shell. That can be quite anything. And then we added a profile, and we photoshopped a little picture. Otherwise, it's not really real without a picture. So this is the non-existing Eva de Jong. And we invited our colleagues from Shell. So send invitations, and these are the reactions. And you get some personal notes, like this one, or here, hi Eva, I'm wondering if I was your colleague, smiley face. And at a certain point, you even got people who invited us, and then it gets even more interesting. And then you have, here we have, 94 connections. And with this profile, we went to search for all these people. So you find a lot of people that are really similar to the Simon person we just showed you, government relations advisors, all kind of diplomats working for Shell. So we took this database, we combined it with the WikiLeaks cables, and then you have an idea, okay, these are the people having the conversations in the cables. And some of them work for Shell, some of them work for the government, and some of them work for both. And then it gets interesting. Here, this is an animation we made. For instance, this is Simon. He's linked to Shell, he's linked to the government. And there are many different other people linked to different departments of Shell, and they're back related to the government. So for us, this was an interesting way of grasping the 250,000 cables and try to visualize it, or let's say designing it really helped us to grasp the enormous amount of information.